Good morning. Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian.
I'm Lauren.
And this is the weekend workout. Join us for this first week of a 6-week semester where we'll continue to play with strength, work on skills like the handstand, those number one skills like the wrist warm-ups first. So start with the warm-up and then we'll explore the skills. Stand in place, comfortable for you. Your parallel stance, you'll be squatting today, so maybe address your squat stance right away. With the hands lightly clasped behind the back and the shoulders lightly retracted at the head neck, start by doing an ear to a shoulder movement. As we move the ears, or the head actually this way, the neck doesn't move very much.
I can't wiggle my ears.
You can wiggle your ears.
I'm doing it right now.
We all have those interesting human tricks, but as we move the head here, make a commitment to not move the neck. I'm repeating one more time to get about 2 each side as a nice little check-in, and then I'll return to the middle. And the same effort on the up, down, or extension. So keep your eyes generally looking on the horizon as you extend, and then chin tuck looking down. You'll end up looking down a little bit here. But again, small ranges for the win. Extension looking up, keep looking forward if you can. And then the chin tuck, crown head high, looking towards the floor, and reset on the horizon. Then switch up those hands and lightly place them across the body, either on either side of the body or with a cross. Still the light retraction through the shoulder blades. Next at the rib cage, add a little bit of an up and over side bend. Same way we did with the head neck there a moment ago. And we're breathing. When we go right here like I am, we need to soften this side. Then it's pulling down to get back to tall. Making room, stay soft, and then pull down to pull up. Same effort when we go front and back in extension. So when we fold forward, keeping the shoulder blades together, we need to soften the belly. And when we lift up, we need to tighten up those abs to support the low back and move the ribs. Repeat that one more time with a light shoulder blade squeeze and a flexion forward. And then pull down, engage that shield, and look up. One more movement for me that puts together those two unique sets of body parts at least. It's the rotation. So with the hands across body with the shoulders lightly squeezed, super slow chin tuck and rotate the direction of your choice. Keep your nose locked in on the target wherever it is, and then rotate the rib cage or T-spine. Rotate the head back to the middle, center, and let the body follow. We're keeping the hips forward as we slowly rotate the head to the other side. Squeeze your butt cheek, particularly of the side you're rotating to, so that leaving my left, the rib cage is now moved. And rotate head to middle and torso to follow. Repeating sets of 2, it's the head first, the body can follow. Squeeze the cheeks, push your feet out, root yourself as you return your head and body to center. And final repetition, head, torso follows. And then rotate the head to middle and the body reassembles. As always, enjoy a nice little shakeout. Be specific in those ranges, but then have the mobility and flexibility to go everywhere.
Excellent. Before we get to the floor, I'd like to do a quick excavator arms. So with your arms at your sides, gently go palms forward, lightly retract your shoulder blades. Then extend on the wrists, reaching behind you, but keeping your elbows nice and straight. Then slowly curl just your fingers in. Then start to make a fist. Once you've made your fist, curl your fist forward. Before we bend the elbows, so you have ramrod straight elbows, which are very important for our crawls and our handstands, we'll gently pull the rope apart. So maybe your pinkies are coming into center. Pretend you have a rope. Pull that rope away from each other. Keeping that rope tight as you then bend your elbows. Once your elbows are bent, keep pulling the rope apart. Drive the elbows to the forward position, and then lightly open them up. When you open them up to the side, let's not flare our rib cage, so pull that back down. Extend on the elbows, extend on the wrists, extend on the hands. Then slowly again start with the fingers curl, then it curls into a fist. Bend on wrists with straight elbows, then bend elbows, pew pew.
Like that flex, don't you?
Then drive the elbows to the front of the room. Pull your shoulder blades together, extend on the elbows, extend on the fist wrists, extend on the fingers. Pull your shoulder blades together. Keep your elbows straight. Keep your blades together as you reach your arms behind you. Once they're behind you, let's create a nice long straight line with those wrists, hands, elbows. Keeping your blades together, return your arms to your sides, and then let that shake out. Let's get down to the floor to do some hips from there. It might not look like that at all. With your feet in parallel, gently press your knees towards over your toes. Once you're here, just lightly hike a hip up and then pull a hip down, and hike a hip up and pull a hip down. Then push into the floor to extend your hips forward, squeeze them, push down in the floor to grow up, finding a two-footed balance. Once you've done that, slowly return the heels towards the floor, bend the knees again, peel the heels up off the floor, and let's repeat that hip hike again, this time on a balance. Hip down, hip hike, hip down, heels down, hips push through to tall. One more balance, going up. This time stay up on your toes. Slowly start bending your knees. How slow can you go? Keeping your heels high off the floor, slowly descend. Then with or without your hands, knees will land softly on the floor. Hips will extend forward, toes will point out the back, and we'll sit on those ankles. Let's quickly extend again and go into a nice little lunge position here. So with one leg forward and one leg back, we're in our lunge position. This time, instead of just hiking our hips, let's throw a hula hoop on and take our hips through a light hula circle. As we do this, we'll go about 2 in each direction. As we're doing this, we're thinking our pelvis is moving, but our femurs are not. So we're trying to keep these long bones fairly stationary, switch directions, as well as keeping our upper body fairly stationary. Moving that pelvis in one circle and then bringing it back to center. Once it's back to center, you're driving your front leg in and pushing your back hip forward. Let's just create tension in those muscles by pulling and pushing, and then gently relax that tension. Heel toe that leg out to the side, only as far as it can go so your knee and your toe are in the same line and your hips are square forward. Same hula hoop comes on again, 2 in each direction. Checking with your shoulders, are they staying relatively stationary? Switch ways, doesn't have to be a big circle. Try to create tension and movement within that circle, meaning not just being a floppy moppy. With that side leg pushed down and pulled in, and that back leg pushing forward, feel that pull tension together again. Get those muscles tense, and then relax. Heel toe that foot back to center, unzip, and repeat the same thing on the other side. From that lunge position, again, hula's on, 2 in each direction. You might notice that with a different leg in front, your hips feel different. Switch directions. That's no problem. It's probably totally normal. You're not weird. So push that front leg down, pull it in, drive that back hip forward, and just feel the difference in each side, thinking about it as you go forward. Tension, 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 and then lightly relax. Heel toe that leg open to the side. Same hula again, 2 in each direction. Try to think about using your core as you're doing this. Can you engage your abs as you rotate your pelvis in that anterior, posterior tip, and then back to center? Once you're there, create that tension one more time by pushing down that side leg, extending that back hip forward, feeling the scissor, the pull underneath you, and then gently relax. Heel toe the leg in front and pull it underneath. Next,
hands and wrists. Working on the crawling skills in a moment that lead to those handstand skills eventually as well. So we'll chip chop ourselves on the hips, land on the floor with the fingertips, the callus line, and then the full hand. Screw in the hand, turn the fingertips white with pressure, and make sure that blood donation again is facing forward. Wrist extension is achieved by pulling the hands to the knees without moving to create some stability, and then gently leaning the shoulders over the fingertips. Then press the fingertips forward that you go back towards like a child's pose, but keep your tailbone cow or an anterior tip. Let's repeat that once more as we pull the hands to the knees to create stability. That creates tension and abilities to then lean over in the wrist extension, and then push back towards like child's pose, but again, keep that anterior tip. That'll come in handy in our elephant crawl. And then just pull ourselves back so our wrists are now stacked underneath of our shoulders. One more movement from here. It's our first knuckle push-up. Keeping the elbows straight, Rod, as Lauren said, press into the floor through the callus line so that the hands might lift up. Slowly return the heels or the palms of the hands back to the floor and repeat a couple more in a row. First knuckle push-up for that wrist strength. For skills like handstands, for skills like kettlebells, and maybe even just desk jockey
Strong
kind of
typing
skills. You got it. So after I do that one more time, I'll push so hard, like flicking a free throw in the winning basket at March Madness. That didn't really come out nicely, but you know what I mean. Follow through and then shake it out. Let's just do one more with those wrists, placing them sideways. So we still continue to hinge on the hips, fingers, calluses, hands. It's a nice flow for any time you're working on your hands. And here I'll push to my right and shift my weight to the left. Repeat, other side. So I'm pushing left and transitioning to the right. Repeating a couple more and feeling what we'll call the preload, which again is a skill that transcends our body weight and kettlebell practice, of just feeling that you have tension and you're ready to go. I'll finish one more in the middle here and pushing equally both ways. Push my hips through and finish up back to tall. Let's return back up to standing now through Lauren's toe squat series, and maybe just even spend an extra little time here with your buttocks on your heels. Then, what do we do from here, Lauren?
We squeeze our cheeks.
Squeeze your cheeks.
Not these ones, these ones.
Those ones.
Can you squeeze just your right butt cheek? And then can you squeeze just your left butt cheek? And then squeeze both butt cheeks at the same time? You can do this in meetings. Again, no one will think you're weird.
And squeeze your bum.
And then extend your hips forward. Tucking your toes behind you, with or without your hands, you'll rock back to that low squat. Let's stay as low as we can go, but try to find our heels, and then push into the floor, extend, press to tall. Give that a little shake.
We'll be back to those hands in just a second, but until we do, let's warm up with a quick movement clock series. It helps with our balance, and it helps orientate ourselves to the space that's available right around us. Pull a single leg up, knee facing forward to this hurdle-like position or flamingo stance. Then point to the front, land toe ball heel, and we'll pull that front foot backwards to lean forward and push it forward to go backwards. Think opposites. Knee front, knee diagonal to that 10 or 2 position, point, land toe ball heel. Push to the diagonal to return to center. A little bit of an extra task out at the side here with the knee front, knee side, land, toe ball heel, and then just do a little bit of a hula from that earlier position. Finding that place that satisfies the level hip and push and return. Next, we're going in the back corner, but we'll go knee front, knee side. Now turn the head and shoulders and turn on the standing leg hip and land in that back corner, and then push and assemble those feet together. Come on, back on the screen here. Now leaving our knees stable so they don't move, draw one leg to the back, land toe ball heel, the back leg bends, the front leg stays straight, and then push opposite, like the up phase of a lunge, and connect together. Same thing other side, knee front, toe point, land toe ball heel, feel that pull and maybe a nice stretch on that back calf, and then push, assemble together. Knee front, knee diagonal, point, land toe ball heel. Knees tracking over toes, pushing back to the middle. And then knee front, knee side, point, land toe ball heel, and just a little bit of an extra hula. And again, the upper body here is staying very quiet. Active, but quiet. Push, assemble. Knee front, knee side, that's that quarter turn, so we'll turn the shoulders, land with the toe ball heel, and then push back together. And now the knee stays the same place. We straighten the back leg first, then it bends. We're in our nice little squat, and then push and clear the foot and shake it out. More on squats and clocks to come up, but until then.
Yes, we're going to do some core from the floor. I would like to introduce our hollow hold today. So let's go down and we're going to end up doing 2 core exercises right now, and then we'll continue on with 1. Let's get down to the floor, obviously, with rules. Let's start with a forward fold here. So elbows bent in that T-Rex position or arms across your chest. What you're trying to do here is just keep your shoulder blades together. Gently tuck your chin. Now pretend there's a wall behind you, especially behind your butt. Tuck your chin. Slowly flex or round your rib cage, trying to keep your shoulder blades together. So it's in fact your spine curling forward. As you're doing this, I like to say you're trying to look inside your belly button. Keep the weight in front of your feet in the forefoot as to not push your butt through the wall that's behind you. Slowly end up in your forward fold position. Once you're down here, you can let your arms go then, and then gently bend one knee and straighten one knee, and bend one knee and straighten, and stay here for one more second, and ultimately try to lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling or anterior tip your hips. Breathe. My knees aren't even straight in order to do that, so take your time. And then gently bend your knees and walk yourself out to the floor and end up lying down on your back, feet flat on the floor, knees bent, palms up at your side. This hollow body hold is very important for our handstand training. So what we're going to do is we will start with our feet flat on the floor and add a progression each time. First, we need to talk about the spine. The spine remains neutral, whatever you'd like to call it. As in, if there was a little mouse underneath your low back, you're not going to squish it. So no pushing your back into the floor as we do this exercise. Palms up at the side of your body. Head and shoulders leave the floor because your ribs connect to your hips. When you did that, check in with the little mouse. Oh, I'm still okay under there. Good, doing it right. Either stay here and hold or bringing both knees up over top of your hips. Today, the last extension off of this will be a single leg reaches long away from center, and then it pulls back to center. Repeat on the other side. As we continue with these actions here for another 3 or so each side, we're breathing underneath that shield. We will notice that our head neck is working because it's off the floor, so it's definitely defying gravity. But the main component working right now is our core. You're lifting your ribs off the floor with your abs, not just your head neck. Everything comes back to center, place them down on the floor, relax, and now we'll flip over into our plank, into a little A-frame or elephant shape here. So come on, flip back over. With those hands underneath your shoulders, spread open nice and wide. Let's tuck our toes and walk back into our plank. Just as we talked about earlier today, creating tension in your muscles, I want you to right now in your plank, create tension in all your muscles. So grip the floor with all of your fingers, straighten your elbows, pull your shoulders down, engage your lats, squeeze your butt cheeks, pull your kneecaps up, brace your core, pull your hands towards your knees, and you should have tons of tension running through your body. You'll have to lighten it a little bit, but tip your tailbone to the ceiling and lift your hips up to our elephant shape here. You may have a light bend in your knees because you're prioritizing tipping your tailbone to the ceiling. Then create some tension by pulling on the floor and pull yourself back to that plank. And then tight, 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 tight. High tension plank for 4, 3, 2. Push the floor forward and back, lifting the hips to your elephant again. Breathe. It doesn't mean there's no tension here, though. We're still pushing into the floor. We're still trying to tip our tailbone to the ceiling. Pull yourself back through. High tension plank again. Go. Kneecaps pull up, shoulders are pulled down, abs are braced, butt cheeks are squeezed. One more elephant. Lift, hold. And then this time we'll either walk our feet to our hands or our hands to our feet. And then we'll unfold ourselves the opposite of the way we got down here. So chin will tuck, muscles on the front and the back of the spine will engage to lift us up. Do this in an active motion, not just a passive stand up. And then relax. Whoa.
Whoa. Upside down is not always easy, so check in and give yourself a lot of time to check in with the whooshiness that might follow the upside down vibe. But we will get back there in a second. Until then, it's that second movement clock now, and the leg, that we'll be standing on, we'll be doing the bending, while the other leg stays straight out front. So follow along as you take a single leg with me out front, and we bend on the other side, single leg, and then push the hip through, finishing tall. Same phases as before, so from front to the diagonal, that 10 or 2, and then push the hip through. Then out towards the side, push the hip through. Unlike the last one where we reach the back corner, we'll stay facing forward and together. And we might get a little bit of a lean forward here as we reach that straight leg to the back, and then hip extend. We'll switch feet and repeat the same thing. So single leg out front, extend the hips, cramp the glutes, visualize the glutes cramping, and maybe even give them some feedback to tell them to work. Move out to the side. Then to the back, but keep your butt cheek squeezed forward, avoiding a twist. And then we might lean here on this one as you reach that towards the back. And then finish nice and tall. Just like Lauren, a little bit of a shake.
All right, we looked at the elephant there, so let's walk. Get out your elephant leash.
That's a big leash.
Yep. And we'll come down via our hinge here. So tailbone will tip to the side, hip will push back, shins will stay vertical, toes will stay heavy. Next, you'll walk yourself forward out into that elephant shape. As mentioned earlier, I'd rather see a little bit of a bend in your knees and a tailbone tip to the ceiling than straight legs and a rounded low back. So prioritize that long spine. Next, opposite hand and foot will take a step in the forward direction. Think about peeling your palms up off the floor. Palms leave, then fingertips flick. We're trying to take a step with opposite hand and foot, contralateral as the majority of animals are. As we take steps in that forward direction, maybe you need to take a break, or maybe you could put on the reverse and go back to where you came from. Elephants may not walk backwards, but we human elephants do. A couple seconds here, just getting used to time on those hands, how the hamstrings feel. And then bend the knees, walk your hands back, end up in that hinge position again, push the floor forward, stand up tall. Whew.
That's right, most animals do that contralateral gait. Giraffes, however, do not. They are ipsilateral. They move the same side. And so do horses, but you have to train them for that. But enough, we digress. Let's focus on our squats instead. What is your squat stance? Let's just take a step back and with your feet turned out from the hips, stand in that V position or first position. Then point to the side and land toe ball heel. Plus or minus, this is a good place to perhaps start. Push your feet out now. Squeeze your glutes, pull up those kneecaps. That represents that up phase of a squat. Stay tall, but pull the feet together. That represents that controlled descending or down phase of your squat. Shake it out. Reset that tension, and now let's pull the feet together without moving. It sets up that controlled tension, and pull yourself to your low squat. Are you happy with where your feet are? Do you want a little bit more room? Now to stand up, push your feet away, and push the hips through. Let's repeat this simple squat for 2 more repetitions. Feel that pulling contraction in, exciting the hamstrings and the adductors of the groin. Great upper body shape, staying nice and tall. And then push your feet out from center, squeezing the glutes. And at the top, pull up those kneecaps. 1 more time. Feel the pull energy down. Take a breath. We could play 1 more game while we're down here. Could you get as low to the floor as safely possible? Then could you lift your rib cage or your heart up as tall as possible? And then push your feet out. Finish tall. Wiggle it together. And then shake it out. Time under tension. It'll creep into our squats as well.
Excellent. Next, we're going to meet the bear. This is not Winnie the Pooh,
Woo.
so no wiggles here. Let's come down and explore this first from all fours. Let's go back to our hip hinge, chip chop on the hips, then tip forward and come on down. We will start first by patterning this exercise. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, toes tucked. Shoulders out of your ears, elbows straight until you go to peel your hand off the floor. You have a really fancy bowl of water on your back and I don't want you to spill it. Taking your opposite hand and leg, you're going to bend the hand, peeling the palm away, lifting it slightly off the floor, pause. Hold. Did you spill your water? Are you still holding your bowl? Place it a little bit ahead of you, land fingertips, palm. Start shifting your weight forward, repeat on the opposite side. Lift off the floor, pause, hold. Are you tipped? Place down. Let's continue this pattern for 2 more steps. Opposite hand and knee lift. Pause for a second. Feel your core trying to stabilize. Place down. Opposite hand and knee lift. Core stabilizing as to not tip. Place down. Let's try do that same activity backwards. Opposite hand and knee. Pause, hold. Place down. No tipping. Try to create that core tension and keep it the entire time. So even when I'm on 4 points or 6, whatever you'd like to call it, I have that core brace, so I'm ready for the next step. Place down, push the floor away, just take a second off those hands. If that was easy, create more stability in your core. Try to make it a little harder with more tension. Next, we will take our knees off the floor. If that was already hard enough, repeat the same thing. If you want to make it a little bit harder, we'll elevate those knees slightly off the floor. So you could move or you could just hold. Right now our knees will lift off the floor. You could stay here. Or you could add that step in the forward direction. Try to take your time. Try to spend 1 Mississippi with only 2 points of contact on the floor. 1 Mississippi, land. 1 Mississippi, land. 2 more steps forward. Is your bowl still nice and level? Is the water slushing about? Let's go backwards, back if you could. The water might be slushing a little bit, but we don't want the water to tip over the edges of that bowl. Keep that core tension, last step or so. End up with your knees down. Woo. Lifting the knees, lifting the hips. Walk yourself back up via that hinge. Use your tension in the floor to stand up to tall. Shake it out.
That punch bowl. That punch bowl analogy and that kettlebell swing and our core stability can really help bring some awareness to having that stable core and the mobile pieces above and below. So, how we doing?
Good.
More squat times, I think.
Yeah.
Let's work on some nice Chico squats. It allows a nice weight transfer. And again, you can kind of pick up with that stance we set up before. Heels that touch, step out together, push your feet out. That's the up phase of the squat. And now when we pull ourselves down, we'll end up standing to one side. Follow along, pull down. As we stand up, transfer to one side. Then test your balance quickly with the ankle balance down low and point. Land toe ball heel, and then power up to the same thing on the other side. Ramrod straight knees and squeeze glutes. Pulling up, pointing and landing in the middle. Repeat the same thing. Adding on would be just a single base of balance. Then point, land toe ball heel. Follow along with these progressions or just stay at that phase before as we point and land. And this time, low, but then travel towards high. And point the leg, land in the middle of those 2 feet, and find your balance on the other side. And climb to the knee, and point, and down. For one more time, maybe we just arrive at that knee right away, and then point, and land. And not quite the last time, because we should even things out. Same thing, point, land, push through. Bring that back in, and that thing's shake and wiggle.
All right, we moved in the forward backwards direction, but
Oh, are we gonna monkey around here?
we can move sideways. I don't know if you've ever done that. Let's explore. We are going to monkey. So what has to happen is we have to end up in our low squat. May look a little different here, it may look a little different at home, but no one's watching, so let's practice monkeying. Pull yourself down into your low squat. Next, you are going to place a hand, and a foot down. Hand, foot, hand, foot. One more time in that direction. And then let's go back to where we came from. It's the same thing. It's a hand, and a foot. As you get used to this, could you spend a little bit more time in the air? Your hips might get a little higher. You might get a little softer, on that landing. Let's push the floor away from us. Stand up, shake that out, but let's do it one more time. So don't go anywhere.
Don't go
Give that
anywhere.
a little bit of a shake.
We're not done monkeying around.
One more time. Here we go. Pulling ourselves down. See if you can find that 1 Mississippi, or maybe it's like 1 Mississippi. Pull yourself down.
That float.
Hand, 1 Mississippi. Hand, foot. More importantly than 1 Mississippi, I would rather not hear you. So you could you're the quietest monkey in the jungle, landing softly, because what soft landings means is that you're in control of this movement. Come back to center, push your hips through, stand up tall.
That's right. Gets warm when we're upside down there working on the core. So check in. How are the upside down vibes? That sounds strong. I like it. Repeating a squat, but this time let's just work on our front back position. We'll start as we did that toe squat series with the knees bending, feet facing forward. Then slide a single leg out front and push off the back leg and try to finish over the toe if available. Then land toe ball heel with a straight knee and then blend that knee bend into our squat again. Now push forward and back. Same thing, finish with that straight leg in the back. Toe ball heel, keep the back leg straight this time, and now extend the hips.
You're still bending it a bit.
It will bend now, but connect the rib cage to the hips here. No strain on the low back, please. And push off the back leg and finish tall, over the toes if available. And then toe ball heel. This time we'll pull ourselves back into that seated position. And now from here, it's harder on the quad, it's harder on the core. Connect your rib cage to the hips and then push off that back leg. Great line, Lauren. And then finish tall. Maybe give a little bit of room, reset, and let's do the same thing. That leg now goes out to the front. Push off the back leg, trying to finish over the toes with a straight knee. Then land toe ball heel, straight leg first. Then that knee bends as we sit into that squat stance. Then push off the back and we transition to forward. Land toe ball heel on the back, keep the back leg straight to start. And as we lean back, connect the rib cage. That leg will bend. The other one stays straight. And then push back, finish forward over the toes. Then land toe ball heel, and we'll just pull ourselves into the original sit squat. And now from here, try to keep the quads parallel. Whoa, those hips extending, rib cages down, then push off the back, connect the knees, and finish nice and tall with a shake.
One more crawl stall
Awesome.
move today. It's called the Raven.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's kind of like the crow, but
Kind of
it's
like a crow.
better because the name's better. Okay, we are going to explore a crow, which is the Raven. Come on down into a low squat. This I really like as an exercise to help us with our handstands because it teaches us how to use our hands when we're upside down. So what we will do is, if we're going to go step by step, do not get ahead of me. Fingers placed down, palms placed down, open those hands up. First time, elbows nice and straight, knees up in the armpits. Don't leave the floor with your toes, just shift your weight into those hands. Toes are still touching, we're just shifting weight into our hands, gripping, and then rock back into your low squat. Level 1, maybe you stay there. Level 2, grip the floor. Knees high, shift your weight forward. One foot leaves the floor, hold. Switch toes. Other foot, hold. 2 feet down, push back to your squat. I said don't get ahead. This time, both feet can leave the floor if you'd like.
Tempting.
Yes, that's what I hear a lot. Okay, opening up the hands, knees get up high. Shift your weight forward. 1 foot, no foot, both feet, hold. Now, if you're going too far forward, feel how your fingers would help you go back. If you're going back too far, feel how the palms of your hands shift your weight forward. Try to use those hands in the full grip for 3, 2, and then soft landing. Push the floor away and stand up tall. That's a great exercise to learn the positioning of your weight within your hands, as well as learning that when you're doing a handstand, as much as the weight is directly through that wrist, it's distributed out your whole hand. It's just like when you're standing, you don't think about, oh, my ankle is holding up all my weight. Well, if you do, you should come see us. But you think about all your toes gripping the floor and distributing the weight through your full foot. It's the same with your hands.
One more episode of a squat here, and maybe we'll even finish with one more exercise on those hands. But we'll start with our feet turned out in a nice little squat stance here. For 1 repetition, front to back and back to front, take a leg and reach it to the front. Then maintain your turnout as you bring it to the side. We can turn that inseam in now as you reach that towards the back. Then we'll just stand up nice and tall and bring that straight leg all the way through to our V. Repeating once in the back direction, we'll sit in that squat, Transfer your weight and stretch out a single leg. Now, like a key in a lock, turn out of that hip from the back to the side to the front, stand and pause. And as a little extra balance bonus here, lift that leg, point to toes or a karate foot, and then tap down and bring things underneath to first. Repeat once each side, front and back on the other leg. Sit squat. Weight transfer, reach front. Open to the side. We're allowed to turn in that in on the back now as we stand up tall. Present that heel forward in our first position V. And we'll sit one more time. Reach to the back with a straight leg. Open in the hip, back to side to front. Straight both knees. Squeeze your standing leg bum cheek. Hold a little quick balance. Tap down and pull back in to that first position with the shake. Normally we finish today's practice with a minute of craziness. That's us pursuing the handstand. What do you think we should do today?
I think it should be viewer's choice.
Viewer's choice.
So we did a plank to down dog or elephant. Then we did an elephant crawl. Then we did a bear crawl. And then we did a monkey. I want you to pick one of those. Got it?
Yep.
And do it. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
You do first.
I asked you first.
I'm gonna monkey.
Good, because I hadn't decided. I'm gonna be a bear. Actually, I'd like to work on that core. So whatever animal it is you choose, let's do however many Mississippis I say of it. Hip hinge.
3,
Walk
2,
yourself
1.
down. And whatever you're doing, engage and go ahead. Remember to take your time. Most of these exercises, when done quick, will seem easy. But when done slowly, will seem more challenging. What does that mean? Means do them slow. Breathe. Keep that stability, whatever you're doing. Engaging your muscles. No matter what exercise you're doing, your hands are gripping the floor right now. You have some weight through your hands and your wrists. Make sure they feel okay. Last couple steps. Finish up what you're doing. Make your way to standing and come up to tall. Whew, shaking that out.
Shake it out. It doesn't always have to be a minute, and it doesn't always have to be an hour-long practice either. To have a rewarding approach to your fitness, your wellness, your workout, insert exercise jargon, we're there. So on Saturdays, we're live at 8. Today was a little bit later. We've been a little bit sick, but we know that getting a little bit of a sweat in right here and maintaining our routine makes us feel better, even if you don't want to do it this morning. So thank you to a great training partner and you, a great audience, for being here with us. And we always look forward to sharing more simple and time tension techniques for your workouts.
Thanks for joining. Next week it starts all over again. We'll be back at the kettlebell on Tuesday, the bar on Thursday, and back here on Saturday morning. Check out our Patreon. Like and subscribe on YouTube.
Of course.
Please, thank you. And until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
And train soon.
We'll be
Goodbye.
There. Bye-bye.
There's 5